Hey guys, welcome back to another Coding for Kids video. Today we're going to be learning how to make a simple four-function calculator in Java. So let me show you how it works. I'm going to run my calculator application, and when I open the run view panel, this is what shows up. It's first going to print a login, or not a login, a main menu of operations that you can choose from. So I'll choose subtraction. So I'll type in a 2 and hit enter, and it's going to ask me for my first number. So I'll pick 20, and my second number is going to be 10. And the answer is 10. So you can also do other operations like multiplication and division. So since division is the hardest, let's pick division. And what's the first number? Um, let's say 5, and my second number is 2.5. So the good thing about this calculator is that it also works with decimals. So when I type in 5 and 2.5, it's going to return an answer of 2. And you can quit the calculator by typing in 5, and that quits. So the good thing about this calculator is that it's iterative, which means that it's going to run the application over and over and over until you want to quit. So that means that you don't have to rerun the application in order to do a second calculation. So that's just a pro for this calculator. Okay, so now that you know how the calculator works, let's start by coding it. So first, we're going to have to import a couple of packages. So you can see that I have this package project files. You don't have to worry about this because this is specific to IntelliJ, and this shows up because it's part of this package. But if you're using something like REPL, this isn't going to be here for you, so you don't have to worry about it. So the first thing I'm going to import is the java.lang library. So import java.lang. I'm going to import the entire library. So I'm just going to type in that dot star and a semicolon. And then I'm going to import the java.util.scanner class so that we can accept user input. So .scanner, just like that. Next, we're going to make a bunch of methods for our operations. So since we have 4 operations on our calculator, we're going to make 4 different methods. 1 for addition, 1 for subtraction, 1 for multiplication, and 1 for division. So let's start off by making the addition method. So the addition method isn't going to return anything. So it's not going to need a return method. So it's just going to be public void. And I'll call the method addition. And I'm going to start off by telling them that they chose addition. So System.out.println, you chose addition. This way, they'll know that they chose addition. Next, we're going to ask them for their first number. So System.out.println, what's your first number? Okay. And then we're going to create a scanner so that we can accept or take in their first number and save it as a double. So the way we do that is by making an object of the scanner class by passing in system.in. So the syntax for that, if you don't remember, is scanner scan number equals new scanner. So that's the object part, and we have to pass in system.in as a parameter. And we can't forget the semicolon. Next, we're going to save that answer, so whatever answer they give us, as a double called first num. So double first num equals scan number, because that's the name of our scanner, and we're going to save that response as a double. So we're going to type in next double, just like that. Okay, cool. Next, we're going to ask them for their second number. So system.out.println, what's your second number? So I didn't type this correctly, which is why I got an error. So get rid of that L. Oh, no, that L stays, but this T goes, just like that. Next, we're going to make another scanner so that we can accept their second response. So scanner, scan number, 2 equals new scanner. And once again, we have to pass the System.in parameter. Next, we're going to save their second number as a double, just like we did with the first one. So double second num equals scan dot, or it's scan number 2, because that's the name of our second scanner, right? Next double, just like that. Finally, we know that the answer to the addition operation is going to be the first and the second number added together. So we're going to create a new double variable called answer, and that's going to be a result of adding the first number and the second number. So since we already made the first num and the second num, we can just use that. So first num plus the second num. And finally, we're going to print that out as the answer. So System.out.println, the answer is, and then answer, in order to print our answer. So this, if you can recall, is just a basic string concatenation example. Next, we're going to make the subtraction method. So once again, since the subtraction method isn't going to return anything, it's just going to be public void subtraction. If it was returning something like a string, then we'd get rid of this void and put in a string. Okay, but since we're not, we're just going to leave it as void. Can't forget the curly braces. And since most of this method is similar to the addition method, I'm just going to copy and paste this entire thing and just change the stuff that I need to. So like instead of addition, we're going to say subtraction. The first number is going to be the same. The second number is going to be the same. All the scanners are going to be the same. And for our answer, instead of adding them, we subtract them. And this second part is also going to be the same. Okay, so that's how easy it is. So copy and pasting it saves a bunch of time. So next we're going to copy this and make the multiplication method. So instead of subtraction, we're going to call this multiplication. And instead of telling them that they chose subtraction, we're going to say they chose multiplication. And the scanner and the first number is all right, and the second number and the scanner is all right. And instead of subtracting the second number from the first number, we have to multiply them together. And then us printing the answer is also right. Finally, we're going to do the same exact thing with the division method. Division. And instead of telling them that they chose subtraction, let's tell them that they chose division. And instead of subtracting the two numbers, we have to divide the two numbers. And then finally, we're going to print out the answer. So now that we have all of our methods complete, let's run them in the main method. So because these aren't static, we have to make an object of the class. So calc c equals new calc. And since there's no constructor, we don't have to pass in anything. And let's just try running c.addition and see what happens. So I'll run this. And it should basically do everything other than printing the main menu. So what's my first number? 5. And my second number is 2. And the answer is 7. So that worked. So because we basically copied and pasted all the methods, we know all of them are going to work. Okay, cool. Now let's make the main menu. So we're going to keep this object declaration here because we're going to use the object in the future. So let's just leave that there. And at this point, let's make a while loop. So while true. So this loop is a little different than what we've done in the past because this loop is always going to be true. So we have to have a condition inside the loop that's going to make it false, or it's going to break out of the loop, which is the only way that we're going to not create an infinite loop. So the way I made the main menu is through ASCII art, so it's just a bunch of print statements. So in order to save us all a bunch of time, I'll paste the main menu in the description of this video so that you guys can access it through there. So this is what I'm going to paste in the description, and you can just copy that and paste it into your program so that you don't have to spend all this time typing out these dashes and these pipe symbols, okay? So there's no Java involved, it's just a bunch of print statements, which is what makes making the main menu pretty easy. Just takes forever. So at this point, we're going to make a new scanner, and this is all inside the while loop. So what the scanner is going to do is it's going to ask the user what operation they want to perform. So scanner, scan choice. So scan choice is what I'm going to be naming my scanner, new scanner, and I'm going to pass in system.in, and can't forget the semicolon. And I'm going to save the response as an integer. So int your choice, that's the name of the variable. That's the name of the integer variable that I'm saving the response in. So scan choice dot next int. So that's how I'm going to read whatever response they gave Java, and I'm going to convert that to an integer and save it in the integer variable your choice. And now we're going to make a bunch of if statements to run the methods according to what their input was. So if your choice equals 1, we know that they picked addition. So we're going to run the addition method. And we have to use this object to run that addition method. So it's going to be c.addition. And then we're going to type in else if, this is how it looks like. Else if your choice equals 2, we know that they chose subtraction. So we're going to run the subtraction method. And finally, or not finally, we have 2 more, but if your choice equals 3, we know that they chose multiplication. So we're just going to run the multiplication method. And if your choice equals 4, we know that they chose division. So we're going to run the division method. And finally, if the response is anything else, we're just going to break out of the loop because either they're typing in 5 or they're typing in some random number, and we haven't defined what typing in a random number does. So we're going to do that in this else part of the if statement, and we're just going to break out of it. So since we have a break statement, we're ensuring that this while loop isn't turning into an infinite loop. So at one point, it's possible to break out of the loop, which is what makes this good code. So now that we're done with our program, let's try running it and see if it works. So I printed out the main menu and it's asking for what number or for what operation we want to perform, and I'll pick division. And my first number is going to be 15 and my second number is going to be 3 and the answer is 5. So it looks like it's working. So in this video, you guys learned how to make a simple calculator, and it's just a 4-function calculator, but it's really easy to create more methods. Like you could, instead of just doing addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, you could do exponents, you could do absolute value, you could do logarithms, you could do trig functions, and etc. And you can expand your main menu so that it can perform more calculations. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.